I'm just sharing the links now. I just created the stream. I'll share the links first. Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you're watching from and depending on where your location is. Right. I would like to start from apologizing doing this video, making this live a reality today. So I said I apologize for the last time. Couldn't hold due to some technical issues. So quickly, we'll be doing something very briefly. Please, I would like to give us a minute or two to share the link, to share this broadcast, please, wherever you are. If you know there's anybody, if you know this, you'll find this helpful for anybody, please do well to share it along. We get the opportunity to design together and get the opportunity to ask questions about designs, right? So, as earlier stated, I planned to, do this particular live video with Photoshop initially, but then I think for today I'll be making use of Corel Draw, and if we have enough time, we'll try to replicate the same thing using Photoshop. Or if not, we are going to still I'll make use of Corel Draw alone, and subsequently we'll be doing another one with Photoshop. So without wasting much of our time, I think I'll just close the software I have open for now. We're going to start from scratch. We're going to open together. We're going to begin together. So all right. Without wasting much of your time, let's get started. So, as I earlier said, today we're going to be designing a food banner, That's a banner for a restaurant. Um, and so whenever we open up our system after having the particular software you want to make use of installed, the next thing to do is just to launch it. So I'm going to be launching my CorelDRAW right now. Okay, so I'm going to be launching my CorelDRAW. As you can see, it's loading already. So just have this open, and the resources we make use of for this particular tutorial is, or this particular class is in this folder. All the resources we make use of are in this folder. So today you get to understand what design really is, some of the principles where will be involved in to have a very good design, some of the design principles you ought to know in order to create a very outstanding design. And also so these are the resources I have. As I earlier said, this is my background. These are some places I got inspirations from. These are some of the design files, the images, and all. So I'm going to be making use of CorelDRAW, as I earlier said. So I'm still waiting for my software to launch. Okay, as you can see, it's launched. It has launched already. And this is just for the record. In case you want to know, this is CorelDRAW 2019. It's CorelDRAW 2019. All right. So sorry, it's a bit laggy, maybe because of the online stuff, the live stream and all. So the system is actually performing a lot of tasks at the same time. So that is why we're having this particular issue. Sorry, having issues launching this. Okay, I don't know why I'm actually having issues launching my CorelDRAW. So I think we're just going to make use of Photoshop instead, so that we don't waste time. I initially planned CorelDRAW, but we could just make use of Photoshop for this particular design. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is I'll just open up my Photoshop. Also give it some time to load because it's a bit laggy. All right. So please, just as we wait for it to come up, you could do well by sharing this broadcast. You could do well by inviting someone, anyone you feel or think this will be very helpful. So you could just do well by inviting the person to come design with us live. So I'm just gonna wait for my Photoshop to launch. Okay. Okay, so we're going to be learning some principles of design like balance, contrast, typography, and so on and so forth. Hierarchy. These are very important stuffs. No songs. Okay, please, at any point, if there are no sounds, if you can't hear me, please do well to just send a message or indicate stating that you can't hear me, so I will know if to correct a particular fault or not. All right. So without wasting much of your time, my Photoshop is already open. So whenever I launch our Photoshop, this is exactly how it's going to be looking like. So the first thing we need to do is to create a new document, and to do that, we all just need to click on create new. As I earlier said, we'll be creating a food banner. So I'm just going to create a new document, and a dialog box or a box is going to appear. We're going to be setting our parameters. So I'll be titling this banner. I'll be titling it banner. Please watch closely as I design, so that you have an understanding of what I'm doing. Now we are going to leave this at inches. If it was CorelDRAW has CorelDRAW has an option for feet, but the only option we have here is in inches, right? So we're just going to be measuring this in inches, but these same principles are also applicable to a banner design. This might not be as big as a banner should be, but they are also very much applicable. I'm making use of this particular size for lagging sake, and so that we'll not have to run things slowly. But then it's the same principles you apply for your background, for your flyers, that you also apply for your banners. The only difference is the only thing expedient or necessary is that you are going to make sure the principles of designs are followed, right? So all I just need to do is to size this, and I'm just gonna be leaving this as, let me just leave this by as 10 by 7, and I'm going to be making it a, I'm not going to be making it a in portrait orientation. I'm going to be making it landscape. So I'll just give the height to be 10, and I'll give the height to be 7 rather, and the height to be 10, and the width to be 7. The height to be 10, the height to be 10, and the width to be 7. So I'll just click on create. Okay, we have this. Right, we have this, and this is how our design is going to be going today. This is how our design is going to be going today. So as I earlier said, these are where we have our resources for this particular design. These are where we have our resources. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be introducing my background to this whole design stuff. So I'm just going to be dragging this into Photoshop. I'm just going to be releasing it. Yeah, so as you can see, I have my background. I'm just going to scale this, and to scale this, I can just hold down Alt and drag the edge to scale evenly. You could just simply adjust from here, but the reason why I held down Alt is so that it will all scale evenly in an even way. So this is okay for me. At least that's covered the whole of my canvas. So all I just need to do is just to check this. All right, so after checking this, I'm someone that like adding noise to my things or to my background to give it that depth and that solidity. So the next thing I'm just going to be doing is to go down to filter, go down to noise, and I'm just going to be going to add noise, and I'm just going to be increasing the amount. Okay, depending on your taste or wherever you want, you either have to increase the amount or reduce the amount. So for me, I think I'll be going with let's see, I'll be going with 10. Let me leave it at 10. I'll be going with 10, and I'm just going to be clicking OK. Just gonna be clicking OK. Please, if you are following me, if you are online, if you are live, and you're understanding what I'm doing, and you can hear me, I would just like you to follow up in the comment section by maybe just typing, following. By just typing following, you could just do that by just typing following, so that I can know and understand that we are following. All right, so after doing this, the next thing I'm just going to be doing is I'm going to be introducing now in this particular design. We're going to be designing from scratch. When I mean from scratch is we're going to be introducing we're going to be creating a very fast logo, though the icon is here already, but we're just going to be attaching the name of the icon, the name of the business to the icon. So I'm just going to drag the first icon we have as our food icon. I'm just going to be releasing it here. So I'll just scale this, as I'll reduce this. Now I'm going to zoom in order to see what I'm doing. Though I'm sure majority of us can't really see it because it is white in color. So I'm going to be changing the color of this, and to do this, I'm just going to go to where while designing with Photoshop. Before I continue, let me just quickly explain this. Photoshop is not like CorelDRAW where you can actually bring everything in together. Photoshop deal with layers. For those of us who make use of our phones to also design, Pixel just the way Pixel make use of layers, that's how Photoshop also make use of layers. All we need to do right now to change this particular color is to just make sure you check on this first, then make sure it's on that particular icon layer. So you just right click on this, and you just go down to blending options. Now among blending options, just make sure you check color overlay. Just click on this color overlay, and also click on the body. And when you click on the body, whatever color you find here, originally I meant to find the color of the you're meant to find the color of the icon to be white. So as seen here, just change this from white to red. Click on OK and select OK, and so you can see the color of the icon has changed. Now it's very, very visible and very clear. So the next one I'm going to be doing is we're going to be introducing the name of this logo and just putting it beside this particular icon. So I'll just go to my text tool, pick my text tool, select my text tool, and I'm just going to type the name. So the name I'll be making use of here is, okay, before typing the name, let me change the color so that it will also be very visible. So And whenever you have, maybe you want to change a color of something, and you already have your color picker here. When it has popped up, you either select any of your colors here, the colors you want to make use of, or you make, if your color, if you know the hex code of the color, you just come here and input the hex code of the color. Now whenever you input the hex code of a particular color, it's that same color you're going to see appearing. So I'll just go out of here and I'll just select. Okay, when you go out of here, it looks like it's on an eyedropper tool, right? So all I just need to do is to click this to change the color of my write-up so that I can see it. Nonetheless, you can actually type whatever I want to type before coming back to change the color, but it's expedient and it's very important that I do it now as it is. So I'm just gonna edit this. I'm going to change this to Susanna Kitchen. Susanna Kitchen. Okay, I want this to come under, so I'll just type kitchen. All right. So all I'll be doing is I'll still select this text layer. I'll still select the layer. I want to make some adjustment, like reducing this the size of the text. So I'll just select it, and once I select it, I'll just pick my property. Okay, sorry, I have to move this and drop it here. Right, I'll just go to my property bar. Now, when I go to my property bar here, I'll just I can make some changes to this particular text here. As you can see, I'm making use of Montserrat, which is the font I still want to make use of. I still want to retain. So I only want to change the form of it. So I'm just going to change it from bold down here to I'm just going to change it to just going to change this just hold on a little. Okay, just gonna change this from, okay, not the font, I'm not changing the font, I'll just change it to semi bold as I earlier did. Okay, I think semi bold is okay for me, so I'll just check this and I'll close this. Now I'll hold down Control plus T, which means transform, and I'm going to reduce this. Just reduce this and I'll bring it here. Okay, I'll still highlight this, and the reason why I'm highlighting this is I want to adjust the tracking. I feel like they are too far apart, so I'm just gonna change the value. Yes, I think this is okay for me. So you could do that here under your properties. Okay, I'm beginning to feel like I should still make it a little bit bold, so it seems like I'll go back to bold. All right, so hold down Control plus T to transform also, and I'm just going to increase this. Now, okay, this is fine. So what I'll be doing is that I'll be grouping this particular layer, the icon layer and the name, that is Susanna Kitchen today. And the reason why I'm grouping them is so that for easy movement, I'll be able to move them all at once or make adjustments to them all at once. So I'll just hold down control while I select the Susanna layer and I select the PNG layer, that's the icon layer. Hold down Control plus G to group. You could decide to name this if you want. Let me just name this logo, but it's not mandatory, right? While designing personally, I don't name layers. So I will just select on this particular group. I'll hold down Control plus T. Now you can see I can make adjustments to all these together. So I think our time is already fast spent. I want this to be at the middle, and to be sure it's at the middle, all I need to do is to hold down Control, also select this logo group, and also select my background group, layer. That's the first background that actually I initially introduced. Then I'm just going to be coming here and I'll be selecting this one now to centralize it. Now, okay, we're making progress. So quickly, the next thing I'm just going to be doing is I'll just go back to where my resources are. Now, alignment is one of the principles of design. You make sure that whenever you're designing, you align things properly to the way they are. You don't just, arranging things scattered in a scattered way actually brings it brings disorganization, and anything disorganizing is not actually pleasing to the eyes, and it makes it more difficult to comprehend the information. So alignment is one of the principles of design. Shows you how you place your things. Do you understand? We have alignment, we also have composition as a principle of design. Composition is basically also, should I say composition is also the way you should I say the outcome of how your design is, the way you choose to compose everything, the way you choose to arrange everything. So it's basically like talking about the alignment also. Also talking about the alignment, it goes hand in hand with composition. So that's just what I wanted explaining. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'll go back to where my resources are, as I earlier said, and I want to I want to introduce the particular pictures I'll make use of for this particular tutorial. But first and foremost, the way I structured it or the way I want it, I'll first of all create shapes. So I'll go to my rectangle tool and I'll drag this. I'll create a shape like this. Then when I create this shape, I'll now I'll adjust the tracking, right? Sorry, not tracking. I'll adjust the edges. I want it to have a curvy edge. So once I draw a box, the properties automatically appears. But just in case it doesn't appear, you come down here, click here, and for it to appear rather. So this particular first box is referring to the edge by the top, the edge at the, should I say the top left, then this other one the bottom left, then this one the right left, sorry, the top right, and also here the bottom right. So we can make a change to one and so it will be applicable to all if this particular stuff that looks like a link is checked or selected. If it's not selected, then we just have to input the values individually. So but if it's selected, I want to evenly increase them, so I'll just select it and I'll come here and I'll write 200. Let's see if 200, okay, I think 200 is too much, so let me just make it 100. Just make the value 100. Maybe I should make this 90. Okay. Okay, so I think 90 is okay for me. 90 is cool for me. So I'm just gonna be changing the color of this also. So I'll just make sure it's on the rectangle layer. Make sure it's on the rectangle layer. Then I'll double click on it to select it. Then I'll just come here. I could just come here and change the color. But then I want the exact color as Susanna Kitchen. So I'll just move out of this particular box and it will pick the eyedropper tool and I'll select this particular color. Yes, and you can see I have the exact color of the red with the same hex code. So I'll just click on OK. Now I would like to make use of two of these. So let me still adjust this, Control plus T. I think I still need to reduce it a little bit. So this is okay for me. I'll just check this. Now before you continue designs, if you're a professional, you can actually, or even if you're a professional and you actually want a neat work, you can actually make use of rulers at the edges of your design if you want to. But then if you don't want to, it's fine. But I think it's good. So before I continue this particular design, I think it will be expedient I actually create borders so that I will know where to exit and where not to. So to create this, make this rulers visible if yours isn't, you go down to view and you go to new guideline shapes. All right, you go to new guideline shapes, then you can now adjust your guidelines. You can now adjust the guidelines. So to get an even guideline or to get a guideline that is even, the best thing to do is to also pick your rectangle tool, hold down Control, hold down Shift, and draw a box. When you hold down Shift to draw the box in an even shape, right? Also hold down Control. Sorry. Hold down Control. Select rectangle. Hold down Control. Okay. Select rectangle. Hold down Control and drag. So sorry, I don't know why my mouse is actually misbehaving. I think I need to fix this. Alright, you hold it down. Okay, hold down Shift. Sorry, not Control. Hold down Shift and drag. Now, these are how I want my borders to be. So all I need to use to bring this particular box, sorry, this particular square I've created. Okay, it's moving together with this first shape because I selected both layers together. So I'm just gonna separate it. Okay, select this, pick the rectangle. So I don't know why this is actually moving together. Okay, I introduced them. Okay, I have to create a new layer. Okay, so sorry for the error, so sorry for the mistake. So I'll just select my rectangle as I earlier said, and I'll hold down Shift and I'll draw a box. And the purpose of holding down Shift is so that the box will be even. It will be a perfect box, not a rectangle. they'll have same values, both the height and the width will have the same value. So after doing this, I'll just bring this. Okay, I don't know why this keep attaching itself. All right, if it keeps behaving like this, I think the next thing I just need to do is just create a new layer separately. Then I'll select it, hold down shift, and adjust. uh, so as you can see, okay, it's now single. I'll just take it to the beginning of my work, and I'll just zoom. I'll zoom and I'll place this here. I'll hold down Control plus J to duplicate the layer, and I'll drag the second one here. Drag the second one here. uh, I'll zoom it properly so that I can see. Then I'll place it at the edge. Now, all I need to do now is to shift my rollers to the borders of this particular box. Just to make sure that everything is perfect and in alignment. So I'll just move this, and I'll drop this, and I'll drop this. So guys, as you can see, it's now serving as a guide, so I know where to exceed and where not to exceed. So the next thing I need to do is just to these boxes are no longer relevant. I've made use of, they have fulfilled their purpose, so I'll just select each of them and delete. Right, so after deleting, I'll go back to my initial rectangle, which is this, and I'll just duplicate it. Hold on Control plus G to duplicate it, and I'll be placing the first one here. I'll be placing the first one here. I'll be placing the first one here. So sorry, just a little. All right, so I can just move this here, and I'll bring the other one, and I'll also bring it here. Yes, so I'll be bringing my images. I'll be introducing my images. So I'll go to where my um design elements are, or my images are, and the first image I'll be introducing here is this particular image, this particular food image. So I'll just drag into Photoshop. I'll drop it. I'll place this at the front. That's whenever you drop something and you see that it's behind a particular layer, all you need to do is to hold down select that layer and drag up. Like, you drag it up while left clicking now and place it at the front. So this is good. So I'll just hold down Control plus T to also reduce this. Now, as you can see, the plate is white and the background is also white, so it's making it a bit difficult to it's making it a bit difficult to it's making it a bit difficult to show. So I just need to bring this here. I just have to bring this here, and I just have to bring it here. And after bringing it here, I'll just reduce it, and I'll just check on this. Right? I'll just check on this. So after checking on this, I'll also um after checking this, I'll also introduce the second food, or the second food, and I'll just move it here. I'll just readjust it here, readjust it the way I want. Okay, as you can see, this first image is already exceeding the layer, so I'll just readjust it here. All right, so this is how I want it to be. I don't want it to be completely on the background. So this is just the adjustment I'm going to make. The next thing I'm going to do, okay guys, please give me a few minutes. I would like to fix something before we proceed. All right, just a few minutes. I'll be back shortly. Right, guys, sorry, so I'm back. So one thing I love about Photoshop is the fact that Photoshop is good with, you know, is better with manipulation or with manipulating things than it is with CorelDRAW, and that's because CorelDRAW is more of a vector file. Do you understand? So I'm going to be placing shadows on this now. So the shadows are going to be making this very realistic. Please, if you are following and you can also hear me, please, I would like you to just drop, just indicate, maybe just an emoji, or just state it or indicate that you're following. So I'm going to be introducing shadows. Please, I would like you to pay attention to these points because these are very, very important things to note. This is actually what makes it realistic and also gives it a bit of contrast. But okay, before I introduce the shadows, I think we should do something. I kind of want to make these food images pop. I want them to be looking very, very, very nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the images. I'll just right click on it. Okay, I've selected the first image. It's on the first layer. So all I need to do is to go to filter, camera raw filter. So these pictures or these images will be enhanced, right? And they'll look more realistic. So after picking this, the first I'm going to be playing with, just play with these parameters here. The first I'm going to be playing with is clarity. I'm going to be increasing the clarity. All right. So I'm going to be reducing. Okay, let me increase the exposure a little. Then I will increase the contrast. You just play around with it, the one that suits you. So let me pick on highlights. Let me increase. Okay, let me reduce the shadow, and let me reduce the exposure a little too. Yes. So let me increase the texture a little bit, and let me also increase the clarity. Right. I'll just click on OK. So as you can see now, you can actually differentiate this particular image from the former one. It has been enhanced. So I'll just select the second image, select filter, camera raw filter also. And I'm just gonna be adjusting it. Just gonna increase the clarity, increase the highlights, increase the exposure a little bit, increase the contrast, and also you could play around with the vibrance and the saturation, make it a bit saturated, and just click on OK. As you can see, these images have been enhanced. They have been enhanced. So what I'll be doing now is going back to the shadows. You just select the first layer, which is this first food, and I'll just above it, I'll create a new layer. Come here to create a new layer. Just select this to create a new layer. So once the layer has been created, you go to your brush tool, which is this, or you just press B on it. So when you press B on it, you just come here, set it to a soft brush, soft round brush, right? Soft round brush. You pick a soft round brush. Then also before you do that, make sure you set this to your default fore and background color. So after selecting it, you just come to where your design is, right click on it. You can still make adjustments here. I want to make this brush slimmer, so I'll just drag this to reduce it, and let's see. Okay, this is okay. Now I want to reduce the size. So to reduce the size of this thing evenly, I can just select this, go back to where my parameters are, and reduce the size from here. But to reduce it easily, you just make use of your brackets, your square bracket button to actually increase or reduce it. See, once you press your square bracket button, it increases. Once you press it again, it reduces. So I'll just zoom this. You make use of a mouse and you set it under preferences. You can actually zoom with your scroll wheel. So I'll just select this again. I want to tilt this a little. And I'll just select this. Okay, Control Z. Now this layer, that new layer that I created, that is on top of the food layer, you have to take it below the food layer. All right, if not, whatever you do will just appear on the surface of the design. So I think I'll still bend this a little bit. Okay, this is okay. Right, so the next thing I'll be doing is I would gradually come to the edges and try to introduce a thick shadow here. Okay, as you are bending, you also adjust it also. So just keep adjusting it, try to give it a thick shadow. Please, if you can hear me, just state that you can hear me so that I'll know that you are all following. All right, so we have this, we have this, we have this. All right, so what I'll now do is I'll right click on this also, or without right clicking, you can just make it of your square bracket to increase the brush, as I earlier said. Okay, I'll still right click on it because I want it straight. All right, so just increase it, using your square brackets, or you could just right click and adjust it automatically. So um I would I would like to I'll create another layer. Now I'll create another layer. So after creating another layer, let me still increase this a little. So I want to give it another shadow. Now this first shadow I gave it is very thick and it's dark. It's just to give it a solid base first. There's this thing with shadows. um I don't know how to explain it, but should I say the first layer gets thicker, then maybe the more exposed it is, the lesser the shadow. So what I'll do is now I'll just drop it here to give it more depth. Sorry, this is too much. Let me reduce this thing a little. So I could just come here to give it more depth. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Um, okay. I think this is too much and it's not so necessary. So I'll just increase it a little bit. Let me still let me make this a bit more round. So yeah, so I think this is okay. But I want to reduce how visible it is. So uh I'll just come to where opacity is here and I'll just reduce it a little bit. I'll drop it a little bit. So same process for this other one. That's the same thing I'll be doing with this other one. So I'll just quickly do it while you watch me. So I'll select the layer which is in front and I'll create another layer, a new layer. So after creating a new layer, I would now bring it below the image. All right. So after bringing the image, um, using the same brush setting I initially used at first, either you come here or you right click um on your work. Then I'll still reduce it a little. Then I'll tilt it because if you notice this food stuff is bending, this food plate is bending. So I'll tilt it and I'll just click here. I'll zoom it and also reduce it using my square bracket. And I'll just come just below it and I'll gently follow. Right? So you can see it's already creating that shadow effect on it. So all I need to do now is to increase the size also. After increasing the size, I'll come back, create a new layer. Make sure it's below the particular food you are giving the shadow, else to appear in front of it, right? So I'll just increase this and I'll reduce the opacity. Okay, let me first of all give it the shadow before reducing the opacity. Um, let's see. Let me reduce it. I just want it to be just here. Okay, so after giving it this, I'll just go to opacity. Now, the reason why we are creating a new layer is so that when we reduce the opacity of this one, it doesn't really reduce the opacity of the first shadow. Because if we should do it on the same layer, it will also affect the first shadow. So I'll just reduce the opacity a little. Yes, I think this is okay for me. And I'll just drop this. So guys, as you can see, I ended up giving shadow to this particular food stuff. So please, if you are following, I would just like to just drop a message stating that you are following. If you're actually following, maybe just a message that you are following will be beneficial. Okay, just a message that you are following. Um, okay, okay. Uh, okay, okay. I can hear you. I can hear you. All right. Okay. I think that is nice for now. All right. So, the next we'll be doing now is that we will be um. First, what we're going to do is that we will be introducing typography, that is, will be introducing our text. Now, if you notice these things, if you notice the arrangement we have here, um, whenever you are making designs, talking about balance now, whenever you're making designs, you make sure that you create it in a way that everything in it will be balanced. That is one. That's what we call balance. It doesn't look as if the design is tilting to one side. You know what it means to balance something now? If you are putting something by the left, you make sure you put something by the right to also make it look balanced. So, and also, that's what I was trying to explain. Now, if you look at this food stuffs we have here, just here, by the left, um, there's a food there, and by the right, there's a food there. Now, it must not necessarily be a food. Okay, imagine we just wanted to make changes to one. Imagine we just wanted to make changes, or we just wanted to send in one food. That was how we're not, and we didn't want to add another plate. Rather, we could just put in something here to make sure that it balances. So it could be text, it could be anything, but let it be balanced. So the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be introducing typography, which is text, simply text. So in creating designs, now a good design do two things. A good design is functional, one, and a good design is attractive. In fact, functionality is the most important thing, meaning let it be applicable. When somebody sees your design, the purpose to which you are making that design be accomplished. Now, designs are not just things you just do casually. Design conveys emotions. It's a psychological thing. There are things you do to a design to make it more attractive. There are things you do to a design to make sure that the purpose of creating that design is accomplished. So if you see a design that's okay, maybe I see a design now and I'm able to get all information being passed in an attractive way and I love it, that's its functionality. It's functionable. The purpose to which it was created was accomplished. So no matter how good or beautiful your design is, if it's not functional, you are missing it already. So um I said this because I was talking about text. When applying your text, I know there are so many fancy texts, but minimal things and simple things are also very good. There's a way I can design this thing that in a bid to just make it beautiful, I make it too crowded and the information is not passed. So it's not necessarily the amount of things you add to it, it's how attractive you can make it look in its simplicity. Are the information passed? Is it communicable? So we're going to be introducing our type and our text. So I want to put the price of this particular thing here, this particular design. So, but I would like to put the price tags this way. Okay, let me try something else. This is an entirely new design I'm making, so it can be part of the thought process. So I'm just gonna bring a rectangle and I'm just gonna reduce the edges. Let me make this 100. Now it's applicable to all. This is too much. Okay, it's 65. Let me make it 40. So I think this is okay. Let me change the color here. Let me just pick. Okay, let me pick red. Okay, let me pick yellow. I'll make it of yellow. Uh, Speaking about colors, color is another thing entirely. We didn't even delve much into colors, but color is even another thing. It's another thing entirely. You have to understand the psychology of colors, what colors really mean, and how colors work. Their colors are particular to food brands. You can't take, for instance, purple to create a something peculiar to food, or blue and black. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't really communicate it. The major colors usually used for the food niche are usually yellow, yellow, white, red, and sometimes green. So I'm just going to be picking a yellow color. Um, uh, okay. Okay. Let's see. I don't want a yellow that is too shouty. So I think I'll make use of this. Let me shift it a little. Right, guys. So I think this is okay for me. So what I'll do is I'll just move this here. Let me hold down Control plus T to transform it. I think I'll increase this and I'll reduce this. I'll bring it here, and Okay, this particular rectangle I created is below, so I'll just put it above, and let me put it here. Let me put it here. All right, I'll put it here, and I would like to create another duplicate. So I'll hold down Control plus J to duplicate. I'll just bring it here also. All right. So after bringing it here, I would just now these are for the price tags, right? But um, if you notice, the white is a shouty color or is a bright color, and the yellow is also a bright color, so it's not very much visible there. So to make this very visible, there are some times that you can actually make use of shadows to make something more visible than another. So to make it more visible, now I could just pick any of the layers I have. That's for these two layers. I'll right click on them, go to blending options, and I'll just select drop shadow. Drop shadow. So when I select drop shadow, let me move this aside. If you notice there's a shadow on it. So now you could make adjustment to these shadows. You could increase the distance, you could increase the spread, whatever guys, just to make it the way it suits you. So I think I'll be reducing the opacity. For me it's too shouty, or it's too bright, or it's too visible, whichever one. So I'll just leave it at let's say 75. Let's say 75 is okay for me. Right, so I'll just click on OK, select the second rectangle layer, right click on it also, select blending options, and select drop shadow. Okay, so as you can see, the former settings or previous settings I used is the same I have here. So I think I'm gonna move this particular yellow. I'm not comfortable with the place it is because it's just like shadows overlapping each other, right? So I'll just move it. Let me place it. Let me place it here. Looking for the perfect place. I also don't want to exceed that border. Okay, let me just put it here. Could still work.